Well, good afternoon. We're here. This is us. This is our love. What is it? Our love. This is our life.
This is us.
This is us. We're ready to do a little bit of lip smacking today. All right. All right. Let's get serious. So we thought today we would actually talk a little bit about Zip. And I'm calling him Zipper now. But Zip.
Sometimes we call him Bud.
And we're calling Bud.
And sometimes we call Bud Zip. And
I often get Bud and Zip.
Bud and Zip are easy to mix up.
Very easy to mix up. I'm glad other people mix it up as well.
3 letters, 2 small animals.
Two obnoxious,
right.
overbearing creatures.
Right, exactly. That's right, Bud. We're talking about you.
We're talking about you, Bud. So Bud was probably one of the biggest things that happened to us in a number of years.
No, Zip.
Zip. You did this. You got me all confused now. So what do you think about Zip?
Well, I think Zip is your cat. And I think Zip
Oh,
is
no,
the
come
cat.
on. He's what follows you around all day.
Zip is the cat that opened you up to cats. I mean, Flo did it a little bit, right? Remember Flo did it a little bit. She was the first one. She flirted with you and you responded. But Zip is, I was thinking about how you wrote that story in Dancing Dogs about the barn cats. And I remember when you were writing it, you were like trying to figure the cats out. It's like you didn't know what to make of them. You were just like, you're just clueless about cats. And now,
I was always struck by the brown cats, though, who were like mystical creatures living up in the barn.
but you did, and you got that from them. But like intellectually, you just didn't know what to make of them. And then Zip comes along, and there's nothing intellectual about your relationship with Zip. You know what I mean? It's just like pure heart. And he just latched on to you and connected to you and spoke to you and speaks to you and you to him, and you just fell in love with him. As soon as we got him, you were in love with him, and it doesn't have anything to do with like understanding cats or what do cats mean or what do cats do or how do cats affect people. It's just all heart. You and Zip.
Well, I'm still trying to figure out what happened with Zip, but he basically just took me over.
He did.
he just entered my soul and said, "Okay, I'm here."
He claimed you. He's
Let's
like,
just
"You're
do
mine."
it. Let's just do it. And I didn't have much to say about it.
Yeah.
Well, he also, honestly, I don't recall knowing an animal like that.
Even the dogs, you mean?
The dogs are different. The dogs really give themselves to you openly. Uh-huh. If you feed them, they love you, and that's about as complicated as it can get. Even Rose, a wonderful dog, or Red, they did their work. They always tried to please me. They always took care of me. This guy is like something I've just not experienced, because I don't have that kind of relationship with him that I have with dogs. I've had the dogs for years.
So you're like, so what is this? What is this about?
I still don't know really what it's about, but I just love being with him. And he has just we talk to each other.
What do you feel when you're around him? Because I think it's all about feeling.
I do. I feel a lot of love and a lot of connection. I feel like we just have connected. He knows me. He gets me.
Do you feel like you understand him?
Sort of. I mean, he's really an amazing. He's taken over the farm. I mean, he's befriended himself with every animal here. He can go anywhere he wants and does. He's also like a vicious killer when he wants to, which is unusual for me. And he's very sweet. He's very loving. When I go out to take pictures of the flowers, he just pops up, sits on my shoulder, sits next to me, watches out, and I talk to him. And we talk to each other.
Well, that's the other thing with him. And I mean, I've had this with cats, too. You have to sometimes tell them more than once. But he really has learned, when you're taking pictures of the flowers, say, not to bother you until you're done. Right? I mean, he'll come up on the table, you'll tell him to leave, or he doesn't even come up on the table. He'll sit on the chair and
he sits on my feet or sits right next to me.
He does that with me now, too. When I bring, like, something out to take a picture of it outside, one of my pillows or whatever it might be, and he always comes around. And I'll just tell him no, and, he really listens. Like, he listens like a dog, and he won't come up on, where I'm trying to take a picture until I'm done.
He's much more complex, I think, than most dogs. He has
you think?
Well, he has different levels. When I go out every afternoon, I like to sit out in the sun a little bit, and he pops up on my shoulder. Sometimes he goes to sleep, and I don't have to talk to him. He doesn't talk to me.
Yeah, he likes to sleep on
He sleeps on my shoulder.
On your shoulder.
And then after 15 or 10 minutes, he's bored, and he goes off trying to kill something.
Yeah.
And I have a hard time with that.
Why?
I don't like to watch him torturing.
Kill something. Yeah.
But
you don't mind him leaving. It's not like you want him to
not
stay
at all.
with you.
No,
or
not at all. I
anything like
appreciate that.
Yeah.
I really like that. He's not very cloying and he's not overbearing in that way.
Right.
And he gets when I don't want to do something. If I'm busy or thinking, he leaves me alone.
Yeah.
But there's a great love between us, and I don't. That's a new thing. I love the dogs, but I find dogs different. They're not as complicated. They're not as independent.
Well, they're not, I mean, our dogs anyway, most dogs don't, like, the cat lives outside. He's got this whole life that we don't even know anything about, or we know little about. He comes and goes as he pleases. It's all on it's all up to him. The dogs are so dependent on us. They really, really rely on us to take them out, to let them in, to feed them. I mean, he doesn't need us. Zip doesn't need us. He doesn't. He can survive very well.
People don't like when
us.
I say this, but I think dogs are mostly about food and work. I love working dogs. They love anybody who works with them, and they love anybody who feeds them. And it doesn't get much more complicated than that.
Well, that's an interesting distinction because you don't feed Zip at all. You never feed him.
No.
And all you do really is give him affection, which is something
Absolutely.
that he wants. It's something that he needs.
And whenever I go outside, he appears.
Yeah.
And checks me out, and sometimes he leaves, sometimes he stays. So we have this very close relationship, but he also very much has his own independence.
Right.
He roams all over the place. He's in charge of everything. And I just love him. I love to be around with him. And I don't know quite what happened. but you have a lot of relationships like that. You're very close to a lot of the animals.
Yeah, but you really fell for him.
I fell for him. Or he just commanded it. It's like, we never discussed it or anything. He just like, okay, I'm here. I'm in charge of you most of the time. And I'm giving you some independence. But
but when I want you to be here,
you're going to be here. And I'm going to be here when I feel like it. And if you don't like it, stick it up your nose.
Right.
So we just get each other. We talk to each other in the same language. And he gets me completely.
Yeah.
Without any training or anything like that.
So what language do you speak with him?
I speak to him pretty much in thought. And he really reads me. He looks at me and he kind of knows what I'm wanting. If I say go away, he just goes away.
Yeah.
But I love to sit with him. He knows that. And in nice weather, we spend every afternoon a little bit together. And every time I go out to take a picture, he's right there.
Yeah.
So he's a part of that. He's my assistant.
Yeah.
And I sort of imagine him approving of, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? He was controversial. It was quite a controversy. The animal rights people were all over me because we weren't letting him sleep in the house, accusing me of abuse and calling the police. And it was wild because, nobody in the country would ever do that with a barn cat. Barn cats there.
Call the police. Yes, I know.
And he does, by the way, a terrific job of keeping the barn clear of rats and mice.
We had such a big problem between the time when Minnie died and he came. It was terrible with the mice and the rats. It's just like
rats
that
can
with
be
farms.
very dangerous
The
on a
rats
farm.
the rats
They
were bad.
kill animals.
And now we don't have anything like that.
So he does his work. He patrols it very rigorously.
He does a good job.
And it's hard to watch him sometimes, torturing these little things.
We don't like to see that.
Every time I look up, and he'll be carrying like a rat or a mouse out, and that's the end of that.
Yeah.
So he does the work of a barn cat, and I respect that because I love working dogs. I love working animals. I feel always a little bit uncomfortable when we have dogs and things that don't do anything because it's their role, it's their life to be out there working. So I've always gone for the working dog.
Well, now, do you think that's because that's how you feel about work?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, and I think that's exciting. It's wonderful to work with a working dog. I can do anything in the world with zinnia. I did anything in the world with rat therapy. Go to places, go to schools, go to the mansion, and I like that. I love working with working animals.
Yeah.
And I feel always a little sad when I realize that most dogs will never work again or never even go outside by themselves. So I love that we can do that on the farm. I love watching you with the sheep and with the other animals, and
They all have their jobs too. It's a little different, but they have their jobs.
But you have a very special relationship with it. Actually, is somewhat like what I have with Zip. And they talk to you. They trust you.
It's a way of communicating without words, and yeah.
And what does that mean? What does that mean to you?
To be able to do that, you mean?
Yeah.
It's really special. I think I'm just beginning to understand how important it is to me and what it means to me. And it still feels kind of mysterious to me, the whole idea of working with these sheep and taking care of them and really communicating with them and understanding them in a way other than, that isn't language.
Every morning, I love watching you.
Though I talk to them a
pick
lot.
one or two sheep who need grain, the old ones, and you bring them into the barn in a special stall. Normally, the others would just stampede all over that.
Yeah.
They go crazy with grain. And then one or two of them will come in, and you'll just turn to them and say, no, not for you.
And they
they
go
just
away.
turn and walk away.
They turn and
I've
walk
never
away.
seen anything
I know,
like
me
that.
neither. I was surprised the first time I did. I was just like, no, you can't. You can't have any grain.
And they go, okay.
And they walk away, and I'm like, okay, I guess that worked.
That's incredibly rare with sheep.
But it makes me think that there is so much more going on than even I'm aware of, and that they're picking up cues from me that I'm not even aware of, and yet we're doing it. We're doing this dance. We have this relationship, and it really works.
I think I should mention with Zip, he so gets this photography thing.
Oh God, yeah.
He loves being in the picture. Wherever I go with the camera, he's like, okay, I'm there.
He's always posing.
And then he goes away.
Posing.
He's happy to go away.
But he hops up on the fence post. But he's
he
always
poses
doing
in these
it.
amazing.
Yeah.
He knows exactly what we want.
He knows just what he's doing.
And he is by far the most popular creature I think we've ever put on the
Well, he's
blog.
very photogenic too, with his black and white face.
People love him. I get messages, but if I don't put him up for 2 days, it's like hysteria. Where's Zip? What's the matter with Zip? So he's a personality. And that is, we didn't mention it, but it's very important. He's probably the most popular thing on the farm at the moment, next to you, of course.
I'm not as popular as Zip.
No, none of us are popular as Zip.
No.
People really like to see him, and he is amazing. And I just the other day I was out in the morning, and I said, I'd like another picture. I haven't had a picture of you. He hops up on the
fence post.
On the fence post, and he does his little Apollo
take
pose,
my picture.
and he just knows that, and then he jumps off and he goes about his business.
Yeah.
So he has changed life on the farm.
Oh, he definitely has. He definitely has.
He's given the farm a big bowl.
Every time we get a new animal, it changes things.
But
and
he's a
some more than
character.
other. But he definitely is.
And he knows how to charm even the people who aren't here.
Yeah.
He knows how to charm. So anyway, I think we've had a great time with him, and I love being with him. I love having him around.
Look, we're up to 12 minutes.
Oh, okay, then I guess we get. Well, to see with Zip, you can
I
talk
know,
for another
Zip,
hour and a
Zip.
half.
We should have him sitting on our shoulders while we're talking about him.
Well, all right. So this is our weekly video. I'm glad we did it on a Friday for the first time, and we're having a lot of fun with it. I hope you are too. And I don't think I even lip smacked today.
I didn't hear any, but I wasn't paying
doing a lot of
attention.
lip smack.
Too
Well,
bad.
sorry, maybe we survived that. All right. So have a great weekend. We are going to be quiet this weekend, and we're planning things, and we enjoy this very much. So thank you for being here.
Thanks for coming.
And what do they do on that TV show, the diner? Bye bye.
Oh, bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you for the food.
Bye bye.